Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. This is Sid 932 on YouTube. But you could just call me Sid. I am here again for Love is Blind Season 7, which is in DC. And this is just going to be episode 7. I'm going to see if bite-sized videos may help a little bit. I know when I do a longer video, sometimes folks are just, reviewing it while they do something. Let me see if I could do bite size. Let me see if I could do shorter, but I am long winded. So let me warn you from now. I'm going to ask you, since you are here, to please like the video, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for helping me grow to the point I am right now. So when we start, we're still in Cabo, Hannah just can't relax. Oh my gosh. Hannah goes back, with Nick and is just telling him, basically what he needs to improve. Just chill. You're in Mexico. Merce and Ramses are on a yacht. They reaffirm each other, and she loves being on the water. Remember, she was in the Navy, which is really cool. Tim, thought he was going home, is what he said. And Alex is trying to stay positive, knew he was upset, but she didn't know how upset he was. Okay, Alex. You don't know how upset. You don't know that putting your hands in someone's face is going to get them really upset. I don't buy that. Tim says, she's willing to listen to what he has to say, and he's willing to keep exploring. I don't believe him. He looked distraught. He's still gazing off into nothingness as far as I'm concerned. Alex says the situation puts a hold on things till they figure out what happens next. What happens next should be Tim going home, but Tim decides he wants to stay, so if he likes it, I love it. Tal and Ashley go on a camel ride for lunch. I've actually ridden camels and elephants and a few others, and I could tell you it's not very comfortable. So they talk about family and the holidays and how it would look. He says he made a big holiday spread for himself. Alex says, let's come up with our own traditions. He likes making tree ornaments. She says, she could just hang with him anywhere because they're making plans for all different celebrations with their friends for all holidays. So the song they play for that is You Are My Person. So Nick, Dee, and Hannah go bungee jumping. Count me out. Sorry, Nick, you were the right girl. She actually did jump. They are in a cable car that is suspended over a valley. And then they jump from that cable car. Not me, not happening. Let me know in the comments if you have bungee jumped. And if you would try it if you have not. So here's a little tidbit. I won't go bungee jumping, but I will go skydiving. What does that say? What does that say? It's not a fear of heights, but what does it say? Tell me what you think it says or means in the comments. Taylor and Nick go to a glass blowing place and they got a fish style ornament, I guess, sculpture. And she says, oh, we'll take it back to your place. He says it's our place. I love when, not Taylor and Nick, sorry, when Garrett and Taylor, when Garrett says these little things like, oh, this is ours, when Taylor keeps saying, oh, this is yours. I love how he corrects her and blends her into his life. Then we have Monica and Steven. She keeps saying, the flower action needs to match his words. She keeps on saying flowers. Don't forget to get me flowers. When we get back, I need flowers. And I'm like, chill, Monica. You're on vacation. He can't go out to the store and get you flowers right now. Wait and observe. Yes, give him the tutelage, but let it go. Let him apply the knowledge. Stephen says, it may be something other than flowers. She's like, yeah, just anything to make me feel special. Stephen does share. He has not gotten a Christmas gift from anyone in a long time. And that's due to family financial constraints. Monica says, their financial situation will not break them up, just to reassure him. And Stephen proves he does not know anything about bag labels. He said, I may get you a Kate Spade bag. She's like, oh, no, don't do that. How about Louis Vuitton? And he's like, I don't know what that is. Is that a big deal? Bless his heart, Stephen. Bless his heart. But Stephen says he does not wish to disappoint her. And all I got to say is, Stephen, just listen. The great thing about Monica is that she is telling you exactly what she wants. So she tells you Louis Vuitton, get Louis Vuitton. Don't get anything else. She's telling you exactly. So he said doesn't he doesn't want to feel forced to do something either. And Monica presses in, is he having second thoughts? He's like, no, I just don't want to be overwhelmed. Monica, this is where you allow him to feel overwhelmed. He's feeling in the moment, and he said, you're the forward thinker. Let him feel overwhelmed. He needs to work through this and come through this with you. The song they play for them is This Is Not the End, Start Again. Alex and Tim go on an ATV ride. He drives across this suspended bridge that is gnarly. Oh my gosh. I'm glad he was at the wheel and he did it slowly. Because if I came up on that bridge, it will be pedal to the metal. I need to get off this bridge. I'm not looking down. But even though he's driving across the bridge and they're interacting, he doesn't touch her. He doesn't hold her hand. He's not joking as much. Tim is either fully checked out or he's trying to slowly check back in, just to make it look good on camera. I'm going to put on camera, but just so he makes it look good. He said he loves her. He wants to start anew. And he is coming back to the room after he takes a nap and after a shower. Tim say, I ain't rushing back. Tim looked like he done because he was walking around with her, putting his hands clasped behind his back. That is a sign of don't touch me. Don't try to hold my hand. Don't get close to me. So Tim, I understand. You got to, if you want to move forward, like you say, you've got to let it go a little bit. But your hands behind your back, ooh, I peeped that, Tim. So we have the couple's night, their last night together. Ramsey shows up in a really different crochet shirt. Crochet doily, multicolored doily that may be hanging in one of my friend's grandmother's house. It's like one of those made into a shirt. You have got to see this. It looked cute on Ramsey. He rocks it well. It's just not my style. So Hannah says she is teaching Nick and he will eventually teach her something. And the ladies are giggling because Hannah is just a little bit overboard. Alex tells Monica and Ashley that Tim was about to leave. And did you tell them the full part you played in this? Because the way that Monica and Ashley was like, oh, well, what did he do? It was very, you didn't tell the whole story, Alex. So she's like, if he leaves, then she can never see him again because there's no number. She doesn't know his address. And Monica wanted to say more and ask more, but the fireworks started outside. Monica goes to Stephen. Stephen is talking with Garrett, and he and Garrett don't come out to see the fireworks. The fireworks are going off. Monica is looking around. All the other couples are together, but also Tyler and Tim hug each other since their ladies are hanging out with each other watching the fireworks. They're like, we'll just hang out together. Monica was being very passive aggressive. She tells Stephen, oh, that was so romantic out there. It was so romantic, don't you think? Pointing out the fact that he never came. He and Garrett were in deep conversation. So he apologized. Stephen did apologize and say he was talking to Garrett. And she's like telling the girls, I don't like arguing because everything he does pisses me off after an argument. Is it just Stephen or is this your normal behavior, Monica? Because it seems like I understand you could be irritated. I get like that too. I'm irritated. Even a nice gesture can possibly tip me off because I'm not feeling you at the time. So the ladies gather and Stephen tries to get to talk to her, but she's like, we're good. We're good. It was so fake, Monica. Like, we good. Monica tells the girls, yeah, he's scared of me. And was very proud of that. And I'm not sure how proud she should be of that. So he shares that he and Garrett were having a moment. He acknowledged her feelings, that he should have been there. And, her feelings are valid. And she kisses him to shut him up, basically. But he doesn't. He just keeps on going and saying, hey, Garrett was having a moment. He wanted to be there for his friend. And, Taylor is sitting right there with Monica. So you're also talking about her fiance. So you're saying that you kept her fiance from watching the fireworks, or her fiance kept you from watching the fireworks. So she's now going to, of course, think what is going on in Garrett's head, excuse me, that he has not shared with me, that he's sharing with you. It's so strong that he's going to miss the fireworks. So Taylor tells him, it's really hard, because we have very limited amount of time with each other to build our relationships. So apparently the talk was about social pressure. I'm not going to say exactly what Stephen says. It was very crass. I know he did not mean it as crass. I'm putting it on a, hey, he's, talking like he's talking with the fellas, but it's about the social pressure about when the show comes out. When the show comes out, there will be women all over your social media throwing themselves at you. How do you navigate through that and keep your fiance, at that time would be your wife, happy? Because women will be throwing themselves at a man in the spotlight. You're not wrong, Stephen, but you could, of course, table the conversation. And he says, Garrett, with his science brain, needs to discuss this now. He didn't want to pause it. So the songs, Stephen, does a horrible job of describing it. He is not reading the room. Monica and Taylor's face are so angry. The song they played is No Pulse. Excuse me. So then we have Tim and Alex. When they go back to the room, she's like, well, who's going to be cooking? Because she's not cooking when they get back to DC. I always don't like these conversations, but I'm like, what are we talking about in the pods? You should be talking about who's cooking and who's not. So he says, he's fine with her not cooking. DoorDash is available. But he's still not touching her. His hand is swinging out at the back of the couch, and she's just sitting there. And I'm like, there is no affection. He's no longer joking, nothing. So I'm guessing Alex happy, because she didn't like his jokes anyway. Monica and Stephen, he is talking. She is annoyed. She's sitting on the bed and annoyed because he is buttoning down every shirt before he folds it. She's like, do you have to button it to fold it? He's like, yeah, I cannot throw my things everywhere, but I need to keep it together. And I'm like, I understand you, Stephen. But what she's trying to say is, come to bed. Stop being passive aggressive, Monica. Just tell him. But she did. She's like, why don't you come cuddle until I fall asleep? Then you could go back to that. Let me get what I want. She is hella annoyed at that man. Garrett and Taylor, she compliments him, at going at her pace. And because he's done that, she feels way more comfortable with him. Taylor, explaining that it's going to be hard telling their close friends and family, about this and having them accept it. But she is starting to initiate affection with Garrett, and I love to see that. Their song is Sensing Something in the Air. So they're heading home to DC, and it says 3 weeks to the altar. Hannah and Nick, she's irritated. Hannah is irritated, about cushions being messed up. If you sit down on a chair, turn around, put all the cushions back. Now let me know your pet peeves in the comments about living with someone. Are the cushions being a little, mushed when somebody gets up and sits? Is that a big deal breaker? Because Hannah was teaching Nick how to refluff the cushions. She said her dog is coming. Nick says he'll help some because he ain't got a dog. And Hannah feels like Nick needs to be told to do things before he does them, that he doesn't just pick up and do it because he sees it needs to be done. I'm like, girl, calm down. You have not spent a night with this man. Why don't you watch his patterns, then have a conversation? But even the way you're talking about it, tone is everything. She's like, I am younger, but I'm more mature than you. And he's like, if you're more intelligent, how do you make room for someone who isn't as intelligent as you? And that was a good thing by Nick. Nick didn't push saying, I'm more intelligent than you, going back and forth. He's like, okay, you're more intelligent. Where does that leave me in your life? So Hannah's like, what you gonna cook for me? I was like, girl, he's asking you how does he fit in with your life? And she judges that he can make salad. He's like, I can make a chicken salad. I can make this. She's like, you know what? I can make a mean bowl of cereal. Just making fun of him. But she said she's had to be so independent early on. She was on her own at 18. But that he wasn't. He wasn't alone or living life alone at 18. So the song they play for them is All We Need Are Braver Ways to Face the Streets and the Shade. Then with Monica and Steven, she reminds him, flowers, don't forget the flowers. And Monica, relax. He's excited about the apartment. He's soaking it all in. He's like, oh my God, I've only seen things like this, the view, the apartment. I've only seen this in a magazine. So he's like, we have a breakfast nook. Steven was all about this is new. And as he said before, he's all about being in the moment. And it screams to me that Monica is used to this level of living. So it may be taken for granted a little bit. But she keeps telling him when he talks about getting groceries, she's like, flowers. Like, girl. He says, what type of flowers? In order to get her to talk and to get her off flowers, 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 she was like, what type of flowers? And she goes on and on. Well, I like these. I like roses. Yeah, but I like hydrangeas. I love sunflowers too. And he gets her to talk while he's able to soak up what's around him. Very good, Stephen. You're learning. But she seems a little annoyed at his enthusiasm for finer things, or maybe what she doesn't think as finer things. Then we have Taylor and Garrett. She wants to review his social media, and he's giving context. He's like, okay, let's talk about this. I'm like, Garrett, give her the phone and hush. He's like, okay, so, I love my fishing. I love fish. So all my social media is about fish. And man, did he not disappoint. It is all about fishing. He got the regular fishing pictures. He got videos. And he made some black and whites. Garrett is all about his fishing. I'm like, you're giving too much context. I thought there was something going to be there. But he said, you know what? You are the best catch of them all. And she was like, good save. And she's like, let's make that our wedding hashtag. He's like, no, we can't do that. It's too corny. Then he's like, yeah, let's do that. We have Tim and Alex. He said he has to cuddle her because it's a queen bed. He does not look thrilled that she wants to cuddle. He's like, well, I sweat in my sleep. No, Tim, you do not look thrilled to be here. Then we have Tyler and Ashley. I'm like, they say they like the same temperature. Now, I don't know about you, but my spouse and I do not like the same temperature in the room, in the house, at all. So let me know in the comments. Have you found someone that you have lived with that you all enjoy the same creature comforts in the home, like temperature? So they're praying in the bed together. He's going to cry. And the song is, I've lit lives. Oh, gosh. I've lived, I've learned, and I'm worn out. Now, why would you say that? These songs mean something eventually, and it just irks me sometimes that I can't figure it out right away. So then we have Marissa and Ramses. He's nervous about talking to her mom. And she said Ramses is going to be a groomzilla. Oh my gosh. Why do I believe her? Why do I believe her? She's like, she likes that he is invested in the wedding and not just her planning alone. And she wants a black themed wedding with her and her groom in all white. She just thinks that would be fabulous. He said he's not doing a black wedding. She's like, are you anti-black? And he looks at her like, girl, I'm with you. It was just so much banter and good humor before they go to bed. And their song is, When I'm With You, I Feel Like Myself. 20 days before the wedding, Taylor and Garrett, they go to his parents' home. She's like, oh, I'm a city girl. You're taking home a city girl. Taylor seems like so much fun. Now that she's relaxing and letting more of her personality out. It seems like they bring gifts. Let's put it there. The family gives her an orchid. His family seems to know all about them because she likes plants. She loves plants. So giving her a plant is very symbolic. So his family knows about it all. The mom says, Garrett is not one to wear his heart on his sleeve, but he's also the family bartender. So Garrett lets them know, hey, she's a chemistry major and she makes a mean margarita and she uses honey. Dad's like, well, we got tons of that around. Because remember, his dad has a bee hive and they harvest their own honey. And Garrett did give that to Taylor in the pods. So the mom asked about the hard conversations. And Garrett's like, we talked about all the big topics. And Taylor certainly put their mind at ease because we learned that this is the only interaction before the wedding they will have with family. So Taylor's like, there's no question. She loves him. They have to check in with each other, make sure, the love is still there, and trusting each other and giving space for a change of heart because that can happen. So they all say she will be a wonderful addition to the family. And she looked nervous even after she said that, and she's holding hands with Garrett. She looked nervous. Marissa and Ramses is cooking when she walks in, and apparently she's been sending him some risque text messages while he's been cooking. But she's been in 2 hours of traffic. So she is just too happy when Ramses said, no, he don't need help in the kitchen. Just sit there and look beautiful. She said she's overwhelmed by commute because she's commuting from Baltimore into DC. And when they sit to eat, she's like, Ramses, these noodles are hard. They didn't look hard, but a good sauce on it, things don't look that way. But she's like, it's hard. So she does not want a male officiant. It can have a spiritual connotation, but she wants a lady, officiating their wedding. He said his mom is very Christian, so it needs to have a Christian element for his mom to feel comfortable. But he thinks praying with him before he walks in may be enough, but he'll check. And, Marissa thought she was going to be married in a Mormon temple, which that is very different because we didn't hear that from her before. We didn't hear much of religion from her before anyway. But this explains why she may want a female officiant. So she does not want religious beliefs in the ceremony. And I'm like, okay, Marissa, I would like to know where this comes from. He believes in some version of God, but he doesn't think he'll be questioned about his questions when the time comes at, the hereafter. So he thinks his God will understand his questioning. So she said she had to leave, the military behind. She needs to leave patriarchy behind. And she's been there in the military all her life, but she, loves the opportunity it afforded her. Ramses confirmed he was not born in the U.S., but he is here now, and he will critique when the U.S. has done what U.S. has done to other countries. So Marissa acknowledged, she's like, yeah, we've bullied some other countries, but she supports the troops wholeheartedly. He's like, yeah, but you signed up for it. She's like, yes, but she did not go into the military to unalive people. And he's like, but it comes with it. They're having their first little argument about it because Ramses doesn't understand. You went into this, you know what military means and stands for. So why are you not thinking? She's like, maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm naive. She's like, but when you go in at 18, you don't understand the gravity of it. And she does say to him, I feel judged. I agree with you. You should definitely tell him you feel judged. It was feeling judgy, his tone, his mannerism, but he was listening. And the other thing I would say with that is that at 18, you don't understand the gravity of a lot of things. And I think Ramses needs to leave room for this. But also, what are we talking about in the pods? She said she was military. You asked her to marry. You knew what you were getting to, Ramses. You knew you were getting a military woman. So now it's a problem? Now that it's like 20-some days before the wedding? Come on. So Marissa, he said he does not like her military service. He didn't want her to be entirely military. He knew it was something more than just that with her. I understand that, but if you feel so strongly, Ramses, you should have let her go. So Marissa confirms that she has been on base since she was 2. Her dad was in the service, but she does not regret her service. And he's like, no, you should not, you shouldn't feel ashamed of your service at all. But she said she can't handle it if he's ashamed of her service. He said he doesn't want her to feel judged for the past as long as it's in the past. She said she tried to go to the reserves, but could not be there anymore in that system. And she said, if she was in the reserves, would he not want to be with her? And he said, he really wouldn't. And their song was, I Want So Much Different Than I Need. Thank you so much. This was episode 7 of Love is Blind DC, season 7. So we got 2 sevens. So please join me for the next episode, episode 8, where we learn more about where each of the couples are heading to. And I want to ask you to please like, share, and subscribe. And just every day, be kinder to yourself more and more.